may not have been until Israel saw Moshe take the 2 tablets of stone and throw them to the ground, breaking them in pieces, that they realized, uh-oh, maybe we've gone too far. Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 5 of the Torah portion, Tisa. Let's just face it, the gold calf debacle is an event that should have never taken place, but it did. And before we would say, if I were there, I would have never participated in that. I don't know that any of us could ever say that we've never had an idol problem. All of us, perhaps, I would think, have had some issue, some person, some thing, some occupation, something that has overly preoccupied our mind and our affection, competing even with the Most High for our allegiance. That's just human nature. We would prefer what we can see rather than that which we cannot see, that which we can taste or touch or experience, more so than that which we understand to be real, but have little opportunity to fully encounter. So Moshe, he is in the midst of hearing this grand, glorious plan of Yah as to how the Mishkan, the tabernacle, is going to be constructed in all of its components, when suddenly the tenor of Yah's voice changes. And we began to read in Exodus chapter 32, verse number 7, and Yahweh said to Moshe, "Go, get down, for your people," these are not my people, he's saying, "your people who you brought up out of the land of Mitzrayim have corrupted themselves. They turned aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them. They made themselves a molded calf and have bowed themselves down to it and slaughtered to it and said, 'This is your mighty one, O Israel, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim.' Yahweh said to Moshe, 'I've seen this people, and see, it is a stiff-necked people. Now let me alone, that my wrath may burn against them, and I consume them, and I make of you a great nation.'" And so Moshe turns the tables on Yah. He says in verse 11, "But Moshe pleaded with Yahweh, his Elohim, and said, 'Yahweh, why does your wrath burn against your people whom you brought up out of the land of Mitzrayim with great power and with a strong hand?'" It would seem that Moshe is saying, "I don't want these people, they're your people." Yah is saying, "Moshe, I don't want these people, they're your people." Nobody wants these people. And I can't really blame either party here at this point. But it is serious. It's extremely serious. Yah has 2 options. Option 1, he can do as he has threatened to do, just simply wipe them out, start all over again with Moshe. Well, that's going to take a long time. A long time. And that's not a real viable plan. Moshe argues the people will say, of the nations, you had the power to bring them out, but you didn't have the power to take them in. Yeah, that's not a good plan. The other plan is to then annul the covenant. Take them out of a covenant people status. With the second option, there are 2 problems. And these are the same 2 problems that historically we have entered into any time that we have tried to relegate the Torah to the past and say that it is now completed in such fashion that it's over. Without the Torah, this is very important, without the Torah, Israel is just another nation. Without the Torah, we have no significance. We have no sense of being set apart. We have no unique status. We have no covenant promise of a kingdom. Without the Torah, Israel does not have a Messiah. You cannot have a viable, credible, authentic Messiah without Torah qualifications. So if Yeshua came, as many have preached, and did away with the Torah, then he is doing away with his own qualifications, and he is doing away with his own job description. Without the Torah, there is no Messiah, and Israel is just another run-of-the-muck, average, ordinary people and nation. Secondly, this is as important, if not more so, without the Torah, there are no parameters, no protocols, no protections concerning the Shekinah, the manifested glory, light, and presence of Yahweh. That means either the Shekinah does not show up, and we are left without light, and without the cloud, and without the pillar of fire, and without any real presence or power or function of this Mishkan that we're supposed to build. Neither do we have any insight. Neither do we have any warmth. Neither do we have any realistic relationship with the Most High in a sense that it goes beyond head knowledge. Both of these things exist when we do away with the Torah. We have a false understanding of Messiah. We have a false application of his purpose and his words, a false identity of him, and we do not have any realistic manifestation of his presence and power. Now, I will grant you that there have been those occasions where we worshiped in places of time past, and it was glorious, it was warm, it was weepy, it was goosebumps, it was exciting and invigorating. But where is that? It oftentimes becomes relegated, encapsulated, and limited to an emotional experience. Emotions are important. They have their place. We need them. And the body of Messiah found within the Hebraic roots community, we could use a great deal of emotion. Some folks need a good cry in his presence. I've seen some that could use a good dose of, I can't stand up, I have to sit down, lay down to do something else. We need such a powerful encounter that it overwhelms us. We need that. But it cannot be limited to the boundaries of a mere emotional experience. If you've had to sit down or lay down, when you get back up, you need to be changed. You need to walk right. When you've dried your tears, it needs to be more than just, wow, I needed that for the moment, but it affects and changes your life. These people had a problem. They had become steeped in the idolatries of Mitzrayim. They had seen the plagues come through and wreck an entire country. They'd seen the water split. They had seen water flow from the rock and manna on the ground, but they never made the connection that it couldn't be more than just Moshe doing supernatural tricks. When Yah showed up at Mount Sinai, it changed them. It had to have. It overwhelmed them. It scared them to their cellular structure. But it didn't change them. The Torah is given to us in written form to change us. Moshe is coming down off of the mountain with written form, and he breaks it. If we're going to live in idolatry, we have no business handling the Torah. Ultimately, he goes back up and Yah says, I will choose to forgive. I'm going to offer to you a version of myself, a characteristic of myself that's never been offered before. I choose to forgive your sins. Not just in the day that you sin, you die. Which Moshe, when he broke those tablets, he was preventing them from dying. But rather, Yah says, now I choose to forgive. Thank you, Yah, for forgiveness. May the presence of Yah fill you inwardly, outwardly. Have a powerful encounter with him as you gather with whoever you gather with, even if you meet alone. May you gather with him. Shabbat shalom to you. I mean that with all my being. Shabbat shalom to you. Be filled with the rest of the Most High. And I very much look forward to seeing you again next week. Till then, shalom.